Hello, welcome to my channel, Leah Decodes. Before you touch her body, something else is already aching to be reached, and most men never notice until it's too late and she quietly pulls away. Listen carefully because this isn't about tricks, lines, or performance. This is about understanding what a mature woman feels long before desire ever shows up on the surface. She's lived enough life to know when a man is present and when he's just physically nearby. When she looks at you, she's not asking herself if you're attractive. She's asking herself if she feels safe being seen by you. That's the first place she wants touched, even if she never says it out loud. A mature woman has already learned how to survive disappointment. She's learned how to carry emotional weight without complaining. She doesn't need to be impressed by confidence that's loud or attention that's forced. What she's quietly craving is resonance. She wants to feel that when she speaks, her words land somewhere real inside you, that when she pauses, you don't rush to fill the silence, that when she opens up, even just a little, you don't minimize it, joke it away, or try to fix it. You let it exist. Most men think attraction begins with boldness. For her, it begins with attunement. The ability to notice shifts in energy, the patience to listen without hunting for an outcome, the strength to stay grounded when she reveals something imperfect about herself. When you touch her awareness first by paying attention without agenda, her nervous system relaxes. And when that happens, desire has room to breathe. She's not looking for someone to complete her. She's looking for someone who can meet her without shrinking or overpowering her. That means your presence has to be steady, not performative, not needy, not distant either, just anchored. When you speak, your words don't rush ahead of your values. When you listen, you're not scanning for opportunities to impress. You're simply there fully. This is where most men fail without realizing it. They touch too fast, talk too much, and try too hard. They think escalation creates attraction, when in reality, containment does. A mature woman feels drawn to a man who can hold emotional space without collapsing into insecurity or control. She notices how you handle small moments, interruptions, disagreements, silence. Those moments tell her everything she needs to know. And here's the truth. Few men here. She's not testing you. She's sensing you. Her body responds to cues long before her mind explains them. When you respect her inner world, her boundaries, her rhythm, her pace, something shifts. She begins to lean in, not because you pushed, but because you invited. This isn't about being passive. It's about being precise, knowing when to speak and when to pause, knowing that curiosity is more powerful than charm, knowing that emotional intelligence isn't weakness, it's leverage. When you touch her sense of being understood, you awaken something deeper than attraction. You awaken trust. And trust for a mature woman is the doorway everything else walks through. What she wants touched next isn't her heart the way movies sell it. It's her sense of dignity. And this is where men either become unforgettable or completely invisible. A mature woman has already been desired. She's already been chased, complimented, pursued. None of that is rare to her anymore. What is rare is a man who doesn't reduce her to a role. The moment attraction appears, she's watching closely to see if you respect who she is. When no one is performing, if you still honor her when she's not glowing, not flirting, not giving you anything back yet. This is the part men miss because it doesn't feel like action. It feels like restraint, like slowing down when everything in you wants to speed up, like choosing respect even when chemistry is obvious. And paradoxically, that restraint is what intensifies the chemistry. Because when a woman feels her dignity is safe with you, her guard drops without effort. She notices how you speak about other women. She notices how you talk about your past. She notices whether your attention feels clean or hungry. Desire isn't the problem. Uncontrolled desire is a mature woman wants to know that if she lets herself feel deeply, you won't cheapen the moment by turning everything into conquest. She wants to feel chosen, not consumed. Touching her dignity means you don't rush her vulnerability. You don't interrogate her emotions or demand access to her inner world before she offers it. You don't use what she shares as leverage to appear closer than you really are. You allow intimacy to grow organically, even if it means sitting in uncertainty longer than your ego would like. This requires inner strength most men were never taught. The strength to not prove yourself. The strength to not seek validation through her approval. When you're comfortable in yourself, you don't need to take from her, you invite her, and that invitation feels radically different to her nervous system. She feels it when your compliments aren't transactional, when you admire her without expecting reward, when your interest doesn't disappear the moment she asserts a boundary. That's when something clicks inside her. She realizes she can relax around you. She doesn't have to manage you, reassure you, or protect herself from you. Many men think maturity in women means they want less romance. The opposite is true. They want deeper romance, just without illusion. They want consistency over intensity, integrity over charm. A man whose words and behavior align even when no one is watching. When you touch her dignity, you speak to her as an equal. You don't pedestal her and you don't diminish her. You meet her eye to eye. You're not intimidated by her experience, her intelligence, or her emotional depth. You're grounded enough to stand with her, not above or below her. And here's the quiet truth. When a mature woman feels respected at this level, desire stops being something she withholds or grants. It becomes something that emerges naturally because now she's not bracing herself, she's opening. Most men never reach this point because it asks them to master themselves first. But the man who does, he doesn't have to chase. She moves closer on her own because she feels safe being fully herself in his presence. What she wants touched even deeper is her sense of emotional safety, and this is where everything becomes irreversible. Because once a mature woman feels safe with a man, she doesn't forget it. Even if she walks away, the imprint remains. Emotional safety isn't created by constant reassurance or dramatic declarations. It's built in moments so subtle most men overlook them. How you respond when she disagrees with you, how you handle being misunderstood, whether you become defensive or curious, whether you punish her honesty with distance, sarcasm, or withdrawal. She's watching not because she's suspicious, but because her past taught her patterns have consequences. A mature woman has learned that chemistry without safety becomes chaos. She's experienced connection that felt intoxicating at first, but slowly eroded her peace. So now her body is cautious. It doesn't open just because you're charming or confident. It opens when it senses emotional predictability, when it knows you won't become someone else once attachment forms. Touching her emotional safety means you regulate yourself. You don't make her responsible for your moods. You don't use silence as a weapon or affection as currency. When something bothers you, you communicate it cleanly, calmly, without blame. That alone places you in a category most men never reach. She notices how you treat uncertainty. If plans change, do you spiral or adapt? If she needs space, do you respect it or take it personally? Emotional safety grows when she feels she can be human around you without managing your reactions. When she doesn't have to walk on eggshells to keep the connection alive, this is where masculine strength shows up in a way few men understand. Not dominance, not control, but steadiness. The ability to stay centered even when emotions are present. The ability to listen without trying to win. The ability to hold tension without needing immediate resolution. That steadiness calms her nervous system more than any words ever could. A mature woman doesn't want perfection. She wants consistency. She wants to know that the man she's getting today will still be recognizable tomorrow. That your values don't disappear under pressure. That your respect for her isn't conditional on her being agreeable, affectionate, or easy. When you touch her emotional safety, she begins to soften in ways that surprise even her. She laughs more freely. She shares more honestly. She becomes playful again, not because she's regressing, but because she's no longer bracing. Safety allows her femininity to emerge naturally without effort or performance. Many men sabotage this stage by rushing it. They mistake emotional openness for entitlement. They think because she feels close, access is guaranteed, but safety evaporates the moment she feels obligated, the moment she senses expectation instead of invitation. Emotional safety thrives on freedom. Here's the truth most men never hear. A mature woman bonds not through intensity, but through reliability, through repeated experiences of being treated well, through knowing that when things get uncomfortable, you don't disappear or explode, you stay present. Once this bond forms, attraction deepens into attachment, not the anxious kind, the grounded kind, the kind where she chooses you, not because she needs you, but because being with you feels like peace instead of tension. And when a woman associates your presence with peace, you don't have to compete. You don't have to convince. You don't have to push. You've already touched the place that matters most. Because emotional safety isn't just something she wants, it's something she protects. And when she trusts you with it, you're no longer just another man in her life. You're someone she feels at home with. After safety is established, what she once touched is her sense of identity, the woman she has fought hard to become. This is where desire turns into devotion or quietly fades into distance. A mature woman isn't just carrying feelings. She's carrying history, choices she regrets, standards she earned the hard way, strength she didn't ask for but had to develop. When she lets a man close, she's wondering one thing beneath everything else. Will this man honor who I am now or try to reshape me into who he prefers? Touching her identity means you don't compete with her independence. You don't feel threatened by her competence, her opinions, or her life before you. You don't subtly punish her for not needing you. Instead, you respect her autonomy and stand confident beside it. That confidence tells her you're not trying to claim her. You're choosing her. She feels deeply seen when you acknowledge her growth without romanticizing her pain, when you don't fetishize her resilience or expect her to always be strong, when you understand that her softness is a choice, not a default. A mature woman wants a man who recognizes the difference. This is where many men get it wrong. They confuse admiration with control. They praise her, then slowly try to limit her. They say they love her strength, then resent her boundaries. She senses this shift immediately. And once she feels her identity is being negotiated, attraction begins to die quietly. Touching her identity means you listen when she talks about what matters to her, even if it doesn't involve you, her values, her routines, her ambitions. You don't mock them. You don't minimize them. You don't treat them as obstacles to the relationship. You understand that a woman who feels free to be herself becomes far more connected than one who feels managed. She watches how you respond to her. No, not just to physical boundaries, but emotional and logistical ones. Can you accept her limits without sulking, without passive aggression, without trying to bargain? Every respectful response strengthens her attraction. Every attempt to override her weakens it. A mature woman doesn't want to be absorbed into your life. She wants to be integrated, where two full individuals choose each other without losing themselves. When you respect her identity, she feels expanded in your presence, not reduced. That expansion is intoxicating. This is also where leadership shows up in a quiet way, not by directing her, but by being deeply rooted in yourself. When your sense of self is solid, you don't need to control hers. You don't need to compete for dominance. You lead by example through clarity, consistency, and self-respect. She's drawn to the man who knows who he is and allows her to do the same, who doesn't project his unresolved issues onto her growth, who doesn't see her evolution as a threat to the relationship. That kind of man becomes a safe mirror, not a cage. When you touch her identity with respect, she feels emotionally uncluttered. She doesn't have to defend herself. She doesn't have to explain herself. She doesn't have to shrink. And in that space, her desire becomes intentional, conscious, chosen. This is where she stops asking whether you like her and starts asking whether she wants to build with you. Because now the connection isn't just emotional, it's aligned. Most men never reach this depth because it demands self-mastery. But the man who does becomes rare. Not because he's perfect, but because he doesn't need to possess to feel secure. And to a mature woman, that kind of man doesn't just attract her, he earns her. The final place a mature woman wants touched isn't emotional, psychological, or intellectual. It's existential. It's her sense of peace about the future. And this is where everything either locks in or quietly dissolves. At this stage, she's no longer asking how you make her feel in moments. She's asking how you make her feel over time. When she imagines tomorrow, next year, or a crisis she hasn't faced yet, does your presence feel stabilizing or draining? This question lives deep in her body, not her words. And once it's answered, her decision is already forming. Touching her sense of future means you don't create emotional highs followed by uncertainty. You don't keep her guessing about where she stands. You don't speak in vague promises or avoid difficult conversations. Clarity becomes attractive here. Consistency becomes seductive because a mature woman understands that love without direction becomes anxiety. She doesn't need guarantees. She needs coherence. Your actions, values, and intentions need to align in a way that feels predictable in the best sense. When you say something matters, you live like it matters. When you commit, your behavior reflects it, even when it's inconvenient. That's what allows her to relax into the idea of us. This is where many men lose her without ever realizing it. They keep things ambiguous to maintain control or avoid pressure. But ambiguity doesn't feel exciting to a mature woman. It feels unsafe. She's already lived through instability. She's not interested in decoding signals or waiting for potential. She wants presence that endures. Touching her sense of future means you respect time, hers and yours. You don't waste emotional energy. You don't drag connections forward without intention. You understand that choosing someone is an act of courage, not limitation. And when you choose her openly without fear, something powerful happens. She starts to invest, not recklessly, not desperately, but deliberately. Because now the connection feels like something that grows rather than consumes. She sees you as a man who doesn't just desire her, but can walk beside her through life without destabilizing it. This is also where legacy comes in. Not money or status, but impact. How you treat people, how you handle adversity, how you grow. She's imagining what it would mean to share space, decisions, and challenges with you. And if your presence feels grounding rather than chaotic, her attachment deepens in a way that's difficult to break. Here's the truth most men never hear. A mature woman falls in love when her nervous system feels calm, her identity feels respected, her emotions feel safe, her dignity feels honored, and her future feels steady. Miss any one of these, and attraction may exist, but it won't last. When you touch all of them, you don't need to persuade her. She chooses you internally before she ever says it out loud. Her affection becomes intentional. Her loyalty becomes natural. Her desire becomes rooted. This is why mature women don't chase drama. They choose alignment. They choose men who make life feel clearer, not louder, easier, not heavier. And the man who understands this stops trying to impress and starts leading with integrity. So here's the question I want you to sit with honestly. Which part of her are you touching right now, and which part are you still avoiding in yourself? Drop your answer in the comments. If this spoke to you, like the video, subscribe for deeper truths most men never hear, and share this with a friend who needs to understand women at this level. Because the men who get this right don't lose mature women. They become the reason she finally stays.